Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel with a very exciting new video. This time we're going to take a look at the first ever Nintendo figure on this channel. This is the Super Mario Bros. Movie Jakks specific 7-inch fire-breathing Bowser. I'm very excited to do this video. Bowser has been one of those figures which I want to review ever since I started the channel. As I mentioned on my last video, I had to do a change of location or to have a better backdrop and have a more large look at the figure. And this time, we're finally going to be taking a look at Bowser, so I really need a larger backdrop. And now let's take a look at the package. And here's Bowser's box. As you can see, a very massive box, and it was quite hefty as well. And unlike all the other figures, which I usually got my local Walmart or Target, this case I actually got this Bowser on a vacation trip. I believe I got him around San Francisco, so around those cities. So it was quite an experience to finally find him, because in my local stores, there's always scalpers, so there's barely any good figures left. Here we take a look at Bowser. And again, this is the first Super Mario Bros. Movie box we took a look at. Hopefully it won't be the last. And something else I have noticed is the really nice looking details. Like, as you can see here, the design of the question mark blocks, the superstar, the mushrooms, which have eyes here. In the movie they did not. There's a render of the figure and some details here. It's premiumly detailed. All these Mario movie figures say that. And with 14 points of articulation. So yeah, one might think, wow, he's very articulated, or he's not that articulated. He also mentioned the whole fire breathing feature. But now, let's finally take a look at Bowser. And finally, here we have the Super Mario Bros. Movie Bowser. Looking very imposing. Zooming into the details first off, the first thing you'll notice is that unlike other Bowser figures, he actually has an evil smirk, an evil smile, which is a really interesting change of the pace, since usually Bowser always looks either angry or just confused, so it's cool that for the movies, they decided to give him a more cynical personality. He's voiced by Jack Black. Fantastic casting, of course. Our beloved Peach's song. And apart from that, something else I noticed is that the texturing they added the figure, as you can see here, is very scaly. Like, I don't really think the camera can really showcase that perfectly, but he has a very scaly feel to him. Of course, he is a Koopa. He's still meant to be a turtle. So I do think that it's a really nice add-on. Just makes the figure feel a lot more premium. As the box says, he is a whopping $30. So yeah, he has to be worth it. Now, he's very accurate. He also has, let's take a look here at the back. The shell has also been very nicely detailed, and something else I forgot to mention is that the spikes of the shell and the tail all made out of a more soft plastic, I guess, in order to not make them a hazard. At the same time, you'll later on remove the shell in order to change the battery, so he can finally breathe fire, or in this case, smoke, which we'll take a look at in a moment. And apart from that, well, he's definitely very accurate. And one thing that I guess some people might not like is that, for example, here the horns and the teeth have not been painted. They're white usually, but in this case they weren't painted. I imagine that the teeth weren't painted because of the whole smoke feature, and that maybe the paint might start to scuff off, or maybe it's some kind of hazard, I don't know. But if they did not paint the teeth, I imagine there is a reason. But that's kind of it for the whole details and that aspect. It's really an imposing figure you have to look at in person. But now let's take a look at Bowser's articulation. And now getting into Bowser's articulation, I'll have to do this with one hand because the figure is so large. I have to hold the phone with one hand and the other do the review with. So first off, nothing at the whole torso or head because of the whole fire breathing feature, but he does have movements here at the arms, the elbows, and the hands to a decent range. He also has here at the leg this kind of movement. He also has some movement here at the feet, and apart from this, here at the back, at the tail, he only has 2 points. These two, and so yeah, he's not the most posable figure out there. He's the most expensive out of the 5-inch line. But at the same time, Mario has 16 points of articulation in this case. And at the same time, apart from the whole fire breathing feature, Bowser is not very much of a mobile character like an agile one. He's very large, he's very dense, heavy, so he doesn't really have that much of a range of movement. But now let's do some size comparisons. First size comparison, here we have Bowser next to some of the only Mario stuff in my collection, that being the McDonald's Happy Meal Donkey Kong, the 2.5-inch normal Super Mario Princess Peach, and some of the go-kart figures, the pullback racers, Mario, Toad, and a Koopa Troopa. Again, just to give you a sense of scale. Of course, this scale is not very accurate. In the film, of course, Bowser was very large, but at the same time not this large. So, this is the case where maybe the 5-inch figures will be a bit more in scale. But again, just to show you some of my Mario collection, not a very substantial one. I have more Sonic stuff than Mario, but I just got into Super Mario because of the movie. And I'm not really going to collect much of the video game Mario, mainly the movie. So don't expect many Super Mario video game deck-specific reviews. But now let's do some other comparisons. And here's Bowser next to some Sonic the Hedgehog figures, also by Jakks Pacific, 4-inch Knuckles, Sonic, Tails, and Classic Sonic. And yeah, Bowser is also pretty massive here. Now, something else I forgot to mention is that this Classic Sonic and the Classic Metal Sonic, which we have seen already, plus a Samus figure from Metroid, I all got them at the same day at that vacation trip I just mentioned where it got Bowser. So yeah, I have not found this Bowser that many times after those vacations, like only once or twice at my local Walmart and Target. But apart from that, I hadn't seen them again, so I'm still glad I got this Bowser, but that's kind of it for these Jakks Pacific comparisons. And here, slightly zooming out, holding the camera with both of my hands, here we have Bowser next to some Space Jam New Legacy figures, Bugs Bunny, Lola Bunny, and LeBron James. And for the most part, I think this is good enough scaling. Again, Bowser was very large in the movie, so I'd say that this is good enough size. And now, before I forget some other size comparisons, here's Bowser next to some Marvel Legends, Star-Lord, and She-Hulk. And I still think that scale actually works really nicely here. Again, you'll see that the camera kind of moves because of how I'm holding it, but I think this is really good enough scaling. Of course, you'll notice that She-Hulk is just slightly around eye to eye with Bowser, maybe just slightly for a few millimeters taller. But yeah, I think this is good enough scaling. This Bowser figure doesn't look too bad next to some Marvel Legends, which I'm pretty sure most people do collect. So again, this Bowser figure will not look out of place. And for a final comparison, and finally, here's Bowser next to some Transformers, the Rise of the Beasts mainline Optimus Prime, and Studio Series Bumblebee. And that's it for these size comparisons. And finally, the moment I'm pretty sure everyone clicked on this video for, of course, the main gimmick that this Bowser figure has is that he actually breathes smoke. Now, the way this works, I remember my mind was blown when I first heard this. I was like, what? How can he do that? Well, here at the back, turns out that, let me just remove the shell here for a moment. And it's kind of tight again. It's a much more flexible plastic. You'll see that one of the spikes is still on the shell. And you can see this on and off switch. This is actually to have him breathe smoke. This spike is actually the button. You'll see that in a moment. The shell just slides like so, and so it comes to a slight tube like a syringe in order to add water. But I honestly found that thing to be very impractical, so I'm just gonna do it like this with the button. And now in 3, 2, 1. Let's see. There we go. Look at that. That is so awesome. It looks so cool. Hopefully the camera showcased how that smoke effect looked. And now, in order to continue this, I'm also going to showcase how it looks with the lights turned off. So, just like Bugs Bunny would say, turn off those lights! And finally, with the lights turned off, let's do this. See the spike, let's see where it's in. There we go. Look at how awesome that looks in the dark. As you can see, he also has a light inside of his mouth. So, you can just see how awesome that looks. Again, this is so cool. Now, you have to add water first. And this to me would just never get old. He uses, I remember, like 3 AAA batteries. So, yeah, that looks so awesome and so menacing. Let me just bring him here closer to the camera. There we go. That is so awesome. I think it's better appreciated in the dark. And now turning those lights on again. Let's do that one more time. As you can see, Bowser is very insistent on doing it. Now, not that much smoke comes out again because the water ends up, you know, he already uses it. So if you want to keep him doing this multiple times, constantly keep him with water. Like you can see there how barely any smoke comes out. But I still think it's so awesome the way that the mouth literally lights up. That is so cool. He has no sounds. But at the same time, I just think the smoke effect is so awesome. Now, I personally have never seen a toy that can actually do this. I'm curious if this figure might turn to a hazard someday, because I remember there have been some toys to use fire, like how there's a rollerblading Barbie, of course, the infamous case where the wheels shot some sparks. In this case, I don't really think this figure has any like security problems. Like, I don't think he can be dangerous in any way. You can see the light kind of turns on because of the way attached to the shell. It kind of just presses the button. But apart from that, this figure is very safe. At the same time, I would not recommend to just like have him very close to your face. But it's a really awesome effect. And now, overall, I'm going to conclude here because there's not really much else to say. The smoke effect is awesome. The figure is very nicely articulated, very nicely designed, very nicely detailed. It definitely looks like Bowser, of course, voiced by Jack Black. To me, personally, the best casting choice of the entire movie. Of course, we all constantly keep singing Peaches, and I'm going to stop it there before I start singing it. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments what you think about this fire-breathing Bowser. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.